Hello. I always do that when I start a video. We are heading north on Interstate 81. And we are coming into Wytheville, Virginia. I thought we were a little closer. There's a water tower up here. It's painted different colors. It's supposed to be a balloon. When I worked at Miracle Steel Buildings years ago in South Dakota, I was like design draftsman, project manager. We did a building for Wytheville for a guy who had a balloon business. I remember because I had some incredible freaking live load on it, snow load. Doesn't necessarily mean that they get inundated with snow all the time. It means that their building code here required it. I forget if it was BOCA or UBC, which code they used. I think they've been combined into one a long time ago. But that's been years since I've done that. years since I've been up here. Since I had an operation. I haven't been driving over the road. Countryside around here. About 30 miles or something like that to go. I'm going to exit 101 to a truck stop. I'm meeting a driver coming down from Pennsylvania with the load that he needs to deliver to Westchester, and I'm going to take his load that needs to go to Knoxville, because this is the only way he can make his appointment and his load can make it to Knoxville both at the same time. Both be on time. If I needed to stop, it'd be kind of cool. There's a nice view when you stop at the Flying J at this exit and you look across the interstate over to the Pilot, and you see the mountains in the distance and everything. You know, it gives you a real good sense of scale of how big the mountains around here are, you know, where you're at. When you're driving down the interstate, you know, you're just driving. You kind of lose any kind of point of reference from where you're at up in the mountains, you know. That's why I like that spot. Nice view. Exit 77 in Wytheville, if anybody's interested. The Flying J is older than the Pilot, so the Pilot's a little busier than the Flying J. But it used to be that the food at the Flying J was better. I guess either one is fine. Just depends on which direction you're going. It makes either one more convenient than the other. I would get in the right lane, but there's a split coming up here. You want to be heading off to the left. That's a new Flying J with a Denny's. Oh. Got under 20 miles to go. he's just decided to slow down for no damn reason. This is so irritating. Not even 65. Anybody in the left lane that's not even doing the speed limit ought to get a ticket. Virginia has a law where if a truck can't keep 70 miles an hour going up a hill, it can't go in the left lane. But these guys can drive along at 63 miles an hour, holding up traffic for a mile. Somebody up in front of that big truck in the left lane, some little four-wheeler. Freaking pull over, man. Get in the right lane. Golly. The gall, self-centeredness. They should be dragged out of their car and beaten about the head and shoulders, as my father used to say. Still not going the speed limit. I was waving that little Nissan, trying to get them to get past me so I could get around that truck without having to lift up off the fuel and hit my brakes while I'm going uphill. New River Trail, that's the New River where they have the New River Gorge up in West Virginia, just to due west of us. As in, like, where we're at right now. New River Gorge has a very historic bridge over it. They close it down once a year for static jumping and bungee cords. Look up New River Gorge Bridge on YouTube, you'll see it. Shoot, we're not going to make it to Christiansburg. When I started making these videos, I was making them for John, my brother, for those of you who don't know. If anybody's watching this besides Mom. This is what I do for letters. Instead of letters, I do this. But when I started making these because John was, he was sick and in the hospital. And, Christiansburg is where I stopped and made my last video for him before he passed away. You didn't get to see it. That's what my sister told me. She made sure I knew. Going down a steep grade outside of Christiansburg, same hill that I pulled over and made that video for John, it goes down steep for a few miles. It curves left and right. I had my front steer tire blow. Connie, my dog, was in the front seat. And the sound of that blowing and all the rubber, all the racket it made right in front of her, she's still paranoid about any kind of sound going down the road. Freaks her out. And I had 42,000 pounds of sweetener on. And if I would have hit the brakes too hard, that front wheel would have dug into the asphalt and we would have jackknifed. We were doing over 70 going downhill. and luckily it was the right front tire, and I had a left-hand bend coming up, so that kept the weight off the tire as long as possible. I tried to brake as much as I could in that bend, but then you see how there's like a guardrail here. Ignore the bridge, but going down that hill, there's a guardrail, then there's not. Then there's a guardrail, and then there's not. And it's close to the shoulder. It's close to that line. So I only had one spot where there wasn't guardrail. I had to park this thing in between them. So I got pulled over into the right lane out of 3. And that's to make that landing. That's when I hit the brakes harder and the front wheel started gouging the concrete. But by then, I was going slow enough that I didn't have to make any sudden turns or anything. I just had myself pointed gradually off the shoulder and was about 5 feet from the guardrail that was right in front of me. And would have taken it right in the grill. That was the hairiest situation I was ever in. That was out of Christiansville, or Christiansburg. Everything turned out all right, though. Here's our exit. Because of breaker 19. They're owned by the same people that have Flying J and Pilot. Warren Buffett owns everything. Casey's, and you name it. What doesn't he own? I've ever been here. Must be all right though. It says Joe's Quick Marts. So we got to go scan the situation and see if we see a truck that says Mission on it. And if we don't, we park and wait for the dude. What is this guy doing? chances are he's going to come in right where I did. And what we're going to do is park like this fella. We're going to leave plenty of space so Tim can park on whatever side he wants. But I heard something there for a second. I want to back up a little further, but I can see the guy next to me is right up against the concrete. So I think we're gonna call her good. All right, that's how she's done. Now we wait. That's what Joe sees.